In a country where fame can turn a person into a national symbol overnight, she was untouchable. Her voice filled stadiums, her face appeared on every billboard, and during China's New Year Gala, millions watched her smile, believing she embodied the soul of a nation. They called her the Heavenly Queen, a title reserved only for the most beloved artists. But in 2014, at the very height of her power, she vanished. No farewell concert, no press statement, no scandal. Just silence. Her social media disappeared within hours. TV stations stopped playing her songs. Entire archives of performances were wiped clean. It was as if the country had decided to erase her overnight. Rumors spread fast. Some said she was blacklisted after clashing with powerful figures in Beijing. Others whispered she had fled abroad under a new name. A few believed she had been forced into isolation, punished for knowing too much. But the strangest part? No one, not fans, not journalists, not even fellow celebrities, dared to ask where she went. Her name became taboo, a ghost in an industry that thrives on visibility. Tonight, we uncover what might have happened to the woman once worshipped by 1 billion people, and why her disappearance still haunts the Chinese entertainment world to this day. Long before her name was erased from the airwaves, she was everywhere. Born in the late 1970s to a modest family in northern China, she grew up during a time when the country was reinventing itself, opening to the world, yet clinging to its traditions. Music became her escape, her rebellion, and her dream. By her teenage years, her voice was already winning national competitions. She sang with the clarity of glass and the force of thunder, a sound that could make people cry without knowing why. In the early 2000s, she became a rising star, known not just for her songs, but for her poise. She wasn't flashy. She was graceful, disciplined, patriotic, the kind of artist China could proudly present to the world. Her performances at the CCTV Spring Festival Gala, the country's most watched television event, turned her into a household name. Her voice became inseparable from China's national image: hope, strength, and unity. The media called her Heavenly Queen, a title that carried both glory and responsibility. At the peak of her fame, she wasn't just a singer. She was a state-approved symbol. She sang at diplomatic events, international expos, and military anniversaries. Her image was used in campaigns promoting national pride and cultural harmony. Behind the camera, she was rumored to have connections with high-ranking cultural officials, relationships that opened doors others could never reach. But in China's entertainment world, such privilege comes with invisible chains. Every word, every performance, every friendship was scrutinized. Fame was never private property. It belonged to the system that created it. To stay on top, she had to balance between art and politics, between personal ambition and public expectation. By 2010, she had everything: awards, endorsements, and influence. She was the face of luxury brands and a symbol of moral integrity, the perfect Chinese woman. To millions of fans, she wasn't just an artist. She was a national treasure. But to those within the industry, her success felt almost too clean, too protected. Behind the applause, whispers grew louder that her ascent was tied to powerful patrons in the cultural ministry, and that she knew secrets best left unspoken. Still, she maintained her composure. Every interview was elegant, every appearance calculated. She never spoke against the system that made her, nor did she defend it. Her neutrality made her untouchable. Yet, in a world built on hierarchy and fear, being untouchable is often the most dangerous position of all. Her final years before the disappearance were filled with contradictions. She began to push creative boundaries, writing her own lyrics, exploring darker, more personal themes. Some saw it as artistic evolution, others saw it as rebellion. Rumors surfaced that certain songs were too emotional, too introspective for a state icon. One performance in particular, a haunting ballad about freedom and fate, was allegedly cut from rebroadcasts without explanation. Still, the Heavenly Queen smiled on stage, unaware, or perhaps fully aware, that her crown was becoming a target. Because in a system where art must serve power, the moment an artist starts speaking for herself, she stops being useful. And in 2014, the woman whose voice once united a nation would simply stop singing. It began like any other year: red carpets, televised galas, patriotic anthems. In January 2014, the Heavenly Queen stood under a sea of golden lights during the Spring Festival Gala, wearing a crimson gown and singing before hundreds of millions. Her performance was flawless, her smile radiant. No one could have guessed it would be her last. Weeks later, her public schedule was abruptly canceled. Concerts were postponed, television appearances removed from listings, and her Weibo account, once followed by over 30 million fans, suddenly disappeared. At first, her management claimed she was taking time off to rest, but by summer, the silence had deepened into something darker. Her name was removed from upcoming events, her image replaced by other singers. Then, her songs began vanishing from major Chinese streaming platforms. Within months, it was as if she had never existed. No farewell concert, no final interview, just a void. Fans tried to reach her studio, but calls went unanswered. Even close collaborators refused to comment. A well-known producer, when asked about her absence, said quietly, "We don't talk about her anymore." Whispers began to spread across Weibo and Tieba forums. Some claimed she had been blacklisted after refusing a request from a senior media official, perhaps declining to appear at a politically themed concert. Others spoke of a romantic connection with a powerful businessman whose empire later collapsed under corruption charges. When that man fell, so did everyone tied to him. Another version said she was caught between two competing factions within China's entertainment ministry, pawns in a larger political struggle that had nothing to do with music. When one side lost, the punishment was swift: silence, erasure, and exile. But the truth was impossible to verify. In China, the disappearance of a celebrity is rarely announced. It simply happens. One day, they exist. The next, they are ghosts. Their profiles vanish, their photos scrubbed from the internet, their colleagues warned not to speak their name. Foreign media outlets began noticing her absence, but official state news never addressed it. In a country where information moves through invisible filters, her story was absorbed by the algorithm and forgotten. A few daring bloggers tried to investigate, but their posts were deleted within hours. One simply wrote, "She sang too high, and the sky heard her." The silence stretched into years. 2015 passed. Then 2016. Other stars rose to take her place. New idols filled the screens, and the public gradually accepted that she was gone. Still, her disappearance left a peculiar void. She had not been disgraced or discredited, only erased. It was not a fall from grace, but a vanishing act sanctioned by power itself. The same system that had once made her a symbol of unity now treated her existence as an inconvenience. For her fans, the pain was personal. They remembered her warmth, her elegance, her calm voice. On obscure corners of the internet, small fan groups began archiving her performances, uploading grainy videos under disguised names, like fragments of forbidden history. They called her the voice that vanished. And as the years passed, that voice became a myth. Some said she was living quietly in Vancouver. Others swore they saw her in Singapore. A few conspiracy threads claimed she had been placed under cultural supervision, confined to her home under watch. But in a nation where truth is controlled and memory is curated, one question remained. How does a woman beloved by 1 billion people disappear, and no one dares to ask why? To understand why the Heavenly Queen vanished, one must first understand how China's entertainment system truly works. It is not merely a stage for art or celebrity, it is a vast, finely tuned machine of influence, shaped by money, censorship, and loyalty. Fame in China is not an achievement. It is a state-approved privilege. Every star who shines is expected to serve a purpose. They represent national values, unity, morality, and above all, stability. The brighter the light, the closer it must stay to the center of control. But when a light grows too bright, when it begins to cast its own direction, it becomes dangerous. By 2014, the Heavenly Queen had reached that threshold. She was more than a singer. She was a cultural ambassador, a woman admired by millions, capable of shaping opinions, perhaps even emotions, on a scale the government could not fully regulate. That level of power, when unaligned with political structures, is often quietly neutralized. Inside the state administration of press, publication, radio, film, and television, SAPPRFT, rumors swirled of a new phase in media control. Policies tightened. Artists were evaluated for their moral alignment. Some were given private warnings, others silent punishment. No one ever received an official paper saying, "You are banned." Instead, the signals came through whispers, phone calls unanswered, shows canceled, contracts under review. In that climate, one wrong connection, even an innocent friendship, could be fatal to a career. The Heavenly Queen had reportedly collaborated with several business elites linked to state-owned enterprises, later investigated for corruption. Though she herself was never accused of wrongdoing, guilt in such systems is by association. A leaked industry memo from 2015, never confirmed but widely discussed, allegedly listed several entertainers to be temporarily de-emphasized for image inconsistencies. Her name, according to insiders, was among them. The memo disappeared within days, and so did she. Her case reflected a broader truth about China's celebrity ecosystem, that fame can only exist as long as it serves the narrative. When an artist becomes unpredictable, emotionally, politically, or socially, the safest solution is disappearance. It is cleaner than scandal, quieter than prison, and far more effective than public disgrace. Meanwhile, on the surface, everything looked calm. Talk shows avoided her name. Streaming platforms quietly rearranged search results so her songs no longer appeared. The Ministry of Culture called it content optimization. But for fans, it was an act of cultural erasure. Outside China, foreign journalists began connecting dots between her case and a pattern of soft disappearances, a practice where public figures are effectively silenced without any official acknowledgement. Some resurfaced years later under supervision. Others never returned. The Heavenly Queen's case became the most haunting of them all, precisely because there was no record, no explanation, no trace. And yet, behind that silence, there was intention. Every vanishing serves as a reminder to artists, producers, and viewers that visibility is conditional, that in an empire of control, even beauty must obey. She was not just silenced, she was strategically erased, not because of what she did, but because of what she represented: independence, influence, and emotion in a system built on restraint. Her disappearance was not a mystery, it was a message. In the years following her disappearance, rumors replaced reality. Without official answers, the internet became an echo chamber of speculation, and every whisper carried a different truth. Some said the Heavenly Queen had crossed an invisible line of power. Others insisted she had fallen in love with the wrong man, a figure too powerful to name, but too dangerous to defy. According to several unverified but persistent accounts, the singer had developed a private relationship with a high-ranking cultural official, someone deeply connected to Beijing's entertainment apparatus. When he was later investigated for corruption, every person associated with him quietly vanished from public life. She too was gone. Others believed she had been romantically linked to a billionaire media tycoon whose empire collapsed in 2015 during an anti-corruption wave. To protect reputations, certain names were reportedly erased, not only from headlines, but from the digital archives themselves. There was another theory, darker and more symbolic, what fans called the curse of the Heavenly Queen. It suggested that every woman who rose too high in China's entertainment hierarchy eventually faced the same fate: silence. Whether through scandal, censorship, or tragedy, no female icon was ever allowed to remain untouchable for too long. The pattern stretched back decades. Actresses, singers, TV hosts, all vanishing one by one when their fame began to outshine the system that created them. Industry insiders whispered that her downfall began with a single decision: a rejected deal. A state-affiliated record company had allegedly demanded her exclusive signature for a patriotic album campaign. She refused. Days later, she was gone. Some called it coincidence. Others called it punishment. Her closest friends maintained their distance. A former choreographer, interviewed anonymously, said, "She wasn't reckless. She was careful. But in this industry, you can be careful and still die in silence." The scandal deepened when, years later, fragments of her unreleased music surfaced online. The songs were haunting, melancholic lyrics about loss, illusion, and betrayal. One track, titled "I Saw the Sky Close," was rumored to have been recorded just weeks before she vanished. Listeners described it as a farewell disguised as poetry. The song was immediately deleted from all Chinese platforms. To the public, she became a myth, the artist who vanished because she sang something the system didn't want to hear. To the authorities, she became a name to erase. But to those who knew her, the silence felt personal, deliberate, and irreversible. Over time, new singers took her place, wearing the same gowns, performing the same patriotic songs she once did. The machine moved on, efficiently, coldly, as if nothing had been lost. But her absence lingered, like a missing verse in a national anthem that everyone pretended not to notice. And perhaps that was the cruelest scandal of all. Not the rumors, not the politics, not even the corruption, but the realization that a woman once worshipped by millions could disappear, and the world would simply adjust. Because in a system where control is absolute, the greatest punishment is not disgrace. It is erasure. Nearly a decade has passed since the Heavenly Queen last appeared on stage, and her absence has turned into legend. For years, no one could confirm where she went. Not fans, not journalists, not even the people who once worked beside her. Some claimed she had fled China under a false identity, living quietly in Vancouver or Singapore, teaching music to children. Others believed she had retreated to a monastery, seeking peace after a life of artificial lights and invisible wars. Every few years, blurry photos appear online. A woman in sunglasses boarding a plane, a soft voice singing in a cafe overseas. And each time, the internet erupts with speculation. It's her, some say. She's alive, but no one can ever prove it. Within hours, the images vanish, the posts deleted, as if the digital world itself conspires to keep her hidden. Her fan base, once counted in the tens of millions, has become an underground network. On foreign platforms like YouTube, Telegram, and Reddit, small groups of devoted followers continue to upload old performances, restoring them from VHS tapes and lost recordings. They call themselves the keepers of her voice. To them, preserving her memory is an act of quiet rebellion. Each song re-uploaded is a refusal to forget. Inside China, though, her legacy exists only in fragments. A lyric quoted anonymously, a photo that escapes an algorithm's filter, a rumor passed like a secret among music students. For younger generations, she is a ghost story, a cautionary tale whispered behind closed doors about how even the brightest stars can vanish overnight. Her disappearance has taken on a life of its own, turning into a myth about power and silence. Some see her as a martyr, a woman who dared to choose integrity over obedience. Others think she accepted her fate, disappearing willingly to avoid further harm. The truth is that no one really knows, and perhaps that's exactly how those in control wanted it. But outside that controlled silence, her presence still lingers in the hearts of those who remember. When her old songs resurface in foreign concerts, or are hummed by strangers on the street, it's like an echo from another era, one where art was still allowed to feel human. In 2022, a short documentary from an independent Hong Kong filmmaker quietly revisited her story. It never mentioned her name, only referred to her as the voice that China lost. The film was banned within days, but not before it spread abroad, where viewers described it as a love letter to a woman erased by power. Perhaps she is gone forever. Perhaps she is still watching from afar. But in the end, her silence has achieved what her fame never could: immortality. Because in a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, she became unforgettable precisely because she said nothing at all. In the end, the story of the Heavenly Queen is not just about one woman's disappearance. It is a reflection of an entire system, a world that builds idols only to destroy them once they stop obeying. She was more than a singer. She was a mirror held up to a country that worships perfection but fears truth. Her songs once united millions. Her voice once carried across stadiums, national holidays, and television screens. And yet, with a few silent commands, it was erased, as if memory itself could be rewritten. But what those in power forget is that art doesn't vanish when its creator does. It lingers, in old tapes, in forgotten lyrics, in the hearts of people who refuse to forget. To this day, no one has officially said her name again on Chinese television. But in whispers, in the quiet corners of the internet, she remains alive through her absence. Her silence has become her final performance, one more powerful than any song she ever sang. And maybe that's the truth behind her disappearance. Not exile, not punishment, but transformation. The woman who once belonged to the state now belongs to eternity. Because some voices don't need to be heard to be remembered. Some songs never end. They just turn into echoes. If you want to uncover more untold stories buried under silence, control, and fame, subscribe to Criminal Tracks, where we bring light to the truths the world tried to erase.